And now the arrangements are all completed. The wicket is pitched and everything is ready for the great day. Whilst it is important that the traditions of cricket should be maintained, it is also important that those responsible for cricket must keep abreast with the times. And so at many of the clubs we now find loudspeakers on the grounds, which are carefully used to notify the surrounding districts of the match which is about to begin. It is used to entertain the people during their sometimes long periods of waiting, and also during the match itself, when actual play is not taking place, to give periodic reviews of the game. This adds to the interest of many of the spectators, particularly those who don't understand all the technical points of the game. The announcement of the incoming batsman, the change of bowlers, the names of the fielders who have taken catches, and so on, all adds to the interest of the thousands of spectators. And here we see on this lovely June afternoon thousands, literally thousands of spectators who are gathered to watch this derby match between Rawtenstall and Bacup. They've been coming since 12 o'clock, although the match doesn't begin until 2. But everyone realizes that the interest is so great in these Lancashire League matches that people must get on the ground early if they're to make sure of a seat advantage. Now we see the teams arriving. The Bacup team is coming onto the ground, and everyone is getting more and more enthusiastic as the time for starting draws near. In years gone by, it used to be father who came to the cricket matches and left mother at home to look after the children. But nowadays, the whole family come to watch these cricket matches. And all the clubs are delighted to find this tremendous revival in interest in our national game. For with this interest, the future of the game is certainly secure. It isn't difficult to realize that this is a Lancashire crowd. And there certainly was on this day a real kaleidoscope of colour, which reminds one of Lord's or the big ground at Sydney. But this is just a Lancashire mill town, and Lancashire mill folk who have come to enjoy this glorious sunshine on this wonderful afternoon in June. The autograph hunters, of course, are still as keen as ever, and they're after the players as soon as they appear on the scene. Now the players come out for a loosening up on the ground before the match begins, and their style is watched, yes, and criticised with tremendous enthusiasm by this enormous crowd. For amongst them are many old players who are quite aware of every fault of stroke which they might make. The rolling of the wicket is a most important job. Sometimes it's done by a hand roller, as is the case at Rawtenstall at the moment. But more and more we're finding the introduction of motor rollers, where finance is available. And now we see Everton Weeks, the Bacup professional, loosening his limbs before the match starts. Weeks is a great favourite on all these grounds in the Lancashire League, and this no doubt accounts to some extent for the tremendous crowd which is here today. But we mustn't forget that the Rawtenstall professional, Hazare, from India, is also a tremendous favourite. There has been a great revival of interest in the enthusiasm in cricket since 1946, and many of the grounds in Lancashire are really put to no little difficulty in catering for these huge crowds which nowadays are attending these matches. New entrances, in some cases, could be advantageously used, for the time spent on queuing is often longer than one would like to see. But the crowd here today really is tremendous. We have, I believe, approaching 10,000 people present at this match. 10,000 people in a small industrial town of Rawtenstall. Rawtenstall, which has a population of probably 28,000 people. There are 10,000 people at this match. It does demonstrate beyond doubt the tremendous enthusiasm and the grip which cricket has on these people in the industrial north. They're still coming on and packing the banking on one side of the ground. All the seats are taken, and they're sitting down on every spare bit of grass that they can find. The programme sellers are very busy indeed, and now the time for starting is nearly here, And soon we shall see the captains coming out to toss for that most important decision of the match as to who shall have first knock on this glorious wicket. The winning of the toss is a very important matter at these league matches. First of all, there's only 5 hours for play, so the relative batting and bowling strengths of each side have to be carefully weighed up, and one has to bear in mind that the wicket is not prepared as are the county grounds, and is apt to go worse as time goes on. And here they are, the captains now inspecting the wicket and tossing for who shall have first knock on this grand wicket today. The crowds are very anxiously looking for this. They've got all manner of headgear on to protect them from the sun, and soon we shall see who is going to bat. And here are the Rawtenstall players coming out, headed by their captain, Benny Longworth, to take the field against Bacup. So Bacup are going to have first knock today. And here is Vijay Hazare, the Rawtenstall professional, coming on. And the Bacup opening pair, Dunham and Banham, are now coming down the pavilion steps and wending their way across the field to the wicket. And now the match begins in earnest, and Bacup are soon off the mark against the bowling of Hazare. Hazare is bowling from one end and Banks from the other. But Rawtenstall don't have to wait very long for success, for Dunham is caught by Jordan off the Rawtenstall amateur Bob Banks, with a score at 5. Well, that's a grand beginning for Rawtenstall in this derby match. And this is what the crowd have been waiting so long to see. Now we see coming down the wicket Everton Weeks, the West Indian Test player. He has done wonderful things in the league this year, and everyone's hoping that he'll make a really grand score today. For if he really gets going, he can be one of the most attractive batsmen in the league. Batting to Hazare. Hazare has been bowling wonderfully well this year, and even Weeks has to watch him very carefully. In fact, he's made 1 or 2 rather streaky shots. The crowd are very much on their toes at the moment, watching everything with interest. With a little bit of luck, Weeks could have been out, but he's still there and batting very, very well now. Looks as though he's going to be set for quite a good score. The score is certainly getting up quite well. They've got past the 30 mark. Weeks batting with Entwistle very, very well now, steadily. Hazare is still bowling to him. Oh, and a very nice shot there, boundary off Hazare. Yes, the crowd are sitting back expecting a very big score now from Weeks. Now he's got over those few opening overs. And here's Norman Coop bowling, the Rawtenstall amateur, to Entwistle, and he bowls him. Norman Coop has bowled Entwistle. Yes, well, that's 2 wickets for Rawtenstall.